Today we have Yoko with us. The reason Yoko is here with us today is because she has been actively expanding her matchmaking work throughout Europe, and I wanted to introduce her to everyone. So I asked her to join us on short notice today, though it's actually via Zoom. Right now, she's joining us from Denmark. This is Yoko. Thank you very much. Well then, Yoko, could you please give us a brief self-introduction?
My name is Yoko, and I am employed as a matchmaker here in Denmark. I originally came to Denmark 22 years ago.
That long?
Yes, it was 22 years ago. Wait, 23 years ago. I came here 23 years ago, and I think I've lived here for about 18 years. There were times when I lived elsewhere because of my husband's job transfer.
Where else did you live?
Yes, in Tanzania, and
Wait, Tanzania?
I also lived in Bangladesh for a period of time.
3
Years and 2 years.
This is honestly the first time I've heard that.
That's right.
That's amazing.
No, it's really nothing special. I just went along for the ride. Just half a year after we got married, we were already off to Tanzania. Thank you very much for that. So, when it comes to settling down or building a life for yourself in a new place, looking back now, and even at the time I felt this, the timing really wasn't good.
It wasn't good. But when I was told, all right, Yoko, we're going to Tanzania, I actually thought, yay! Or was it more like, what? Really? Which way did you react?
It was kind of both. Yeah, I was still young at the time, so the idea of being able to go somewhere I couldn't easily go on my own.
I felt both excitement.
But at the same time, of course, I had just recently moved to Denmark. So I was also thinking to myself, wait, I really need to get my own life settled here. And now I'm being asked to go somewhere else again. So I had both feelings excitement, but also wondering if it was truly okay to do this now or if I'd be all right. It was really both emotions happening at once.
So after that, you went back to Denmark, and then it was Bangladesh again.
After returning to Denmark, about a year later, I ended up going to Bangladesh again.
Even though it's your own life, having your movements dictated by your husband's company's circumstances is quite an experience. It's like you have your own will, but at the same time, you kind of don't, isn't it? If you're not flexible about that, it can feel like, I don't like this, I feel tied down. But in your case, Yoko, you were flexible, or rather, you had that kind of flexibility. So you were able to just go along with your husband from place to place, right?
At that time, I was able to have some truly rare and valuable experiences, so I'm glad for that. Me too.
I'm the type who also wants to try going places, so that's great. Sorry, please go ahead.
No.
No. Introduction to implementation. Yes.
So, after we came back, my husband, well, he still travels a lot for work, but our family settled down because he got a job that doesn't require transfers. So, from then on, we've been living a more settled life in Denmark.
So during the time between going to Tanzania and Bangladesh and returning to Denmark, were you basically a full-time housewife? You weren't working at that time?
Even now, I'm teaching at the supplementary school in Copenhagen.
Oh, so you're a teacher.
There was also a supplementary school located in Tanzania, and as a result, I had the opportunity to study and learn together with the children who lived there. Additionally, during that particular period of time, the internet had just started to become available to the public, so I decided to try sending my resume and application materials to various translation companies online, and eventually I was fortunate enough to get hired by one of them. Well, I say hired, but because of the time difference with Japan, I started getting jobs that couldn't be finished in time over there, little by little.
And
I got to do some tasks or assignments like that. So basically, I tried to find things I could do within the environment I had there, making sure to work within the situation I was given.
that's what it comes down to, right? On the flip side, if you get a certain qualification, you end up searching for a place where you can use that qualification. But if you focus on finding work where you can make the most of your abilities, wherever you are, you can survive, right?
The income at that time simply wasn't quite enough to live alone there or to support oneself independently or anything like that. But still, for people who tend to follow someone else, unless you are able to build a strong core of your own, as Naoko-san mentioned earlier, you end up just being brought along because of your husband's particular circumstance.
That's right.
You end up leaving behind everything that forms your own foundation, don't you? While your husband is able to build up his career and even turn that into a positive, for you, it's just reset after reset after reset. That's how it is.
For women, or rather for wives, it's important not to fall into a victim mentality, thinking that they're in an environment where they can't do what they want to do.
Interestingly, in countries other than Japan, when wives accompany their husbands on overseas assignments, there seems to be a very clear identity as an expat wife, so they don't really question that role. In fact, they seem to find a strong sense of self worth in that position, and apparently, there's even a hierarchy among the wives depending on their husband's job title.
That's right, that's exactly it.
There were also people who felt things very deeply, and it seemed really tough for them. On the other hand, some Danish expat wives also found it a bit difficult there. It wasn't so much that they were suffering, but more like they felt as if they were the only ones left behind, with everyone else in the same situation. But, well, when their children are small in Denmark, they can't really have that kind of time since everyone works and is just so busy. So, there were also many people who were really happy to be able to spend enough time with their children.
Right, exactly.
It really seems like people's perspectives change a lot depending on the stage of life they're in.
Yeah, I see, I see. So that's how it is now that you're in Denmark, right? Do you still have friends in Tanzania or Bangladesh? Uh,
Back then, there wasn't really Facebook or anything like that,
so, I see, I see. It feels like there just wasn't any way to stay connected, right?
but I'm still in touch with the Japanese people who were stationed there, and I still keep in contact with those who helped me out. It's interesting.
That's interesting. I see, I see. So, going back a bit, Yoko, when you were in elementary school, junior high, or high school, did you ever think about living abroad or wanting to do something overseas?
Well, I wasn't a returnee myself, but I did have quite a few friends who were, and there were also people in my high school who went to study abroad. Additionally, when I was in university, I spent a little bit of time in the United Kingdom.
Oh, really? By the way, which university was that?
At that time, it was a place where people who liked things like international relations gathered.
So, you were specifically aiming for that, which is the reason you chose the international field, right? It wasn't as if you were planning to go into medicine or music, for example. Since you were heading toward studying international relations, that's probably why you ultimately ended up in that department.
Maybe that kind of thing was also popular at the time.
So, did you also work really hard on your English?
Well, my university was a place where you had to work hard at English, so I guess I could speak it reasonably well, or at least normally.
Really? Really? For example, do you have any particular study methods or tests you took? For example, there are things like the I Can Grade 1 test, right? What did you focus on when you were studying?
Back then, there weren't any convenient language learning apps or online resources, so I used to listen to NHK's basic English program in the morning.
So you would wake up early in the morning to do that?
It was about 3 times a day, you know? Back then, it came out every month.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I did it too.
Did you keep doing it the whole time? Yes, I did. I kept at it the entire time.
It started with basic English and eventually went up to business English.
There were different levels.
I learned everything from those programs.
That's amazing.
No, it's not that amazing.
You know, it's really hard to keep at it. I tried a few times myself, but after one or two tries, I just gave up. I couldn't stick with it, so it was tough. They say persistence is power, and I really think that's true. Are you still doing something? An app like that? Now,
With Duolingo.
is everyone playing Duolingo?
Yes, I learned Korean as a hobby.
Korean? Really, really, this
It's just a hobby now, and I don't hate languages.
number.
People who like reading numbers and such.
I like Sudoku.
I don't really like playing Sudoku very much, but I do enjoy learning about languages. It's not like I actually dislike them all that much, to be honest.
In the middle,
What club were you in during high school? Going back, I was in the swimming club, but I was really slow, always coming in last. Yeah. And then
but why did you join the swimming club? Well,
it just happened that a friend asked me to join together, so
I see.
that's how it was. So I just ended up joining by chance. Once you join, it's pretty hard to switch or quit, so I just kept going as it was. Uh,
So was that in junior high or high school?
yeah, both junior high and high school. It was an integrated school.
I see. Is that so?
Nako-san, did you do any clubs or activities too?
I played basketball the whole time, so I was in the basketball club.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Well, since I was small, I played basketball, but I wasn't a star player or anything. I did more behind the scenes stuff, kind of like a manager. But I actually liked that. It was good in its own way. So, changing the topic a bit, I'd like to ask about the era you grew up in. Do you remember the first record you ever bought? Code? Is it a CD? In terms of the times. First time? No, not at all.
It's a record. People these days don't even have CDs, do they? I don't know.
What is a CD? Something like that. Yes.
That's right, that's true. It was Yuki Saito's song when I was a child.
Saito Yuki?
I recently bought some new records, actually. Maybe an elementary school student, delinquent girl detective.
I understand that it's that era. I understand that School Wars is much younger than me.
Masu.
I understand School Wars. It's Yamashita-san, Yamashita.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me think.
Shinji-san, in those days,
At that time,
I didn't watch it back then, but I do know School Wars. So let me ask your favorite.
the target audience, right? It was on in the evening, I think.
Do you have any favorite actors, actresses, singers, or artists? Like, who would you say is your oshi, your favorite, if you had to pick one now?
There are a lot, but when you ask me who specifically, I kind of forget. I like YouTube, though.
So you were into Western music, right?
When I was little, or rather when I was young, Yeah, right. When I was young, back in those days.
There was you too, right? You too. I was someone who didn't listen to Western music at all. There was stuff like Best Hit USA for Western music back in those days. I see. So it was you too, huh? You too, yeah, you too. Wait, which country is you two from again?
They're from the UK. UK? No, they're from Ireland.
They really do have that European vibe.
That was nice.
It was just by chance, just by chance.
Bono is so cool.
All right, so now let's talk about a movie I really love if I had to pick just one.
The way we were.
Sorry, who stars in that movie? I'm talking about movies, but I actually don't know much about them.
Robert Redford, the actor.
Oh,
Robert Redford, the actor, man. And also Barbara Streisand, the singer.
so it's pretty much a classic then? Is it kind of a romantic movie?
The ending is sad, or rather, it's easy to understand.
I see. Would you recommend it? Oh,
Yes, I definitely recommend it. Absolutely.
I see. Everyone, watch The Way We Were and soak up all its loveliness. For me, it's kind of frustrating? But maybe you could use it as a lesson in what not to do and watch it to help your own love life go better. That's not a bad idea, right?
By the way,
Do you know perhaps Cinema Paradiso by any chance?
do you?
Ah, yes, yes, of course. I absolutely love that movie. Back when I was a student, even though I didn't have any money, I loved that movie so much that I saw it in the theater about 5 times. I was so moved that I was just bawling, with tears and snot streaming down my face. It's really my favorite movie. Back then, I admired Italy so much since it's an Italian film, right? So I even tried studying Italian, but I just couldn't keep up with it and ended up giving up. So, is that how it was? So, when you studied abroad in college, was it in the UK?
Yes, that's right.
Was that your first time going overseas?
It was through something like a university program. Oh, but actually, I went to America just a little bit when I was in high school during summer vacation, just for a short time. Where did you go? It was a program where you interact with American high school students, something like that. Like an exchange program? Oh, but it was just for the summer.
Yeah, those exist.
So, after seeing various places like New York, we interacted with high school students in a university dormitory.
Which dorm was it? That one?
It was a dorm at Princeton University.
Princeton, right? That's in New Jersey, isn't it?
That's right.
It's actually pretty close to my place.
It's a lovely place.
A classic American university.
It feels just like that.
Oh, I see. So you went to Princeton. Wow.
But it was just for a little bit during summer vacation.
But since you've experienced both America and the UK, which did you personally prefer? Or is it not really a comparison?
I wasn't actually there for a long enough period of time to really make a fair comparison, but What really surprised me was when I went to the dormitory at Princeton University, there was a large cafeteria, and I saw someone there who I assumed was a Princeton student. When I listened to what they were saying, they sounded completely American, but they were sitting at a table with people who looked just like them. Does that kind of thing happen?
What do you mean by look just like them? Do you mean Asian?
People of Asian descent tend to stick together with other Asians, and maybe people of Middle Eastern descent originally tend to be with other Middle Easterners. And those who seem European are often talking with other Europeans. That actually surprised me.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too.
When I listened, I could tell they were American, like you could tell they were born and raised in the US. Not that they learned the language later, but maybe it was just a coincidence.
I see. Uh, but yeah, that kind of thing might happen. I guess it depends on the individual person, though.
Yeah, it might have just been a coincidence.
Okay, so after becoming a working adult, did you ever work in Japan or did you go straight?
Thank you for the nice comment.
What kind of work did you do? Did you end up choosing a job related to English or something aimed at overseas?
It just so happened that the company that hired me was an advertising agency, an American one. I worked in sales there.
An advertising agency?
After that, I was invited by a friend from university, and I worked in PR and marketing for an NGO. It wasn't for that long, about a year and a half or 2.5 years. Then I came to Denmark.
So, does that mean you first got to know your husband back then while you were doing marketing for that NGO?
When I was a freshman in college, a close friend invited me, and I decided to come to Denmark for a summer school.
Summer school, yes.
It was held in English, and honestly, I didn't even really know where Denmark was at the time. But I came here for the first time, and it was summer out in the countryside, surrounded by beautiful nature, and it was such a great environment. The Danish people were very kind to me, and I made some connections and friends there. My husband was actually a friend of a friend of a friend of someone I met at that time. So I feel like that's how we kind of ended up connected.
That's right, exactly. It wasn't a direct connection. It was more like someone from that group of people behind the scenes just happened to show up there.
Yes, that's right.
Back then, was there such a thing as online dating?
I'm not really sure. At least I never heard of it among the people around me.
But with everyone, and I apologize to ask if you don't mind me asking, during that time at the summer school in Denmark, did you meet your husband somewhere?
Not at all, not at all.
So you didn't?
My husband was like a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend I made back then.
So then, where did you actually meet him after that?
After that, a friend of a friend of a friend or something like that told me that there was a Danish person coming to Japan and asked if I could show him around. That
Was your husband? Was it back then?
he wasn't really like that. It was pretty rare to have a chance to meet someone like that.
Yeah, it's not easy to meet people like that, is it?
That's right.
So, when your husband first came to Japan, was it like you were showing him around as a sort of tour guide? Yeah, that's right.
At that,
At that time, did you have any romantic feelings or anything like that? Or
I've forgotten. It was so long ago.
did you ever think, oh, he might be nice? Or I want to have an international marriage or anything like that? Like, wouldn't it be interesting to have a partnership with someone from overseas?
Yeah, I did think it might be interesting, honestly. Since there are so many different options, I really thought that could be fun too.
But then after spending a few days together, he just goes back home, right?
That's right.
So after that, did you keep in touch and your relationship started from there? Was it like exchanging letters or something? It wasn't that long ago, right? There was email at least.
Yeah, there was.
Like those old computers that made that ween ween sound? Oh, I get it, DOS. It was definitely really slow, wasn't it? The internet back then.
Yeah, the connection.
So that's how it all started.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
So counting from then, how long was it before you got married? Do you know about how many years was it like that?
I think it was about half a year.
Half a year? Wow, that's pretty quick, surprisingly.
Otherwise, long distance relationships can be tough, you know? I mean, I don't really know. Maybe that's not always the case, but without some momentum, it can be hard.
Yeah, you're right. You need that momentum. It's really important. If you hesitate at that point,
Yeah, there are people who are really cautious too. But things didn't really work out with people like that.
So when you're both at the right age and you think, hey, this is nice, it's like, bam! That kind of momentum is really important, isn't it?
Unless both people are able to make decisions when it's time, it's pretty tough, of course, Otherwise, of course, the people who have become members have already made that kind of decision. So they've chosen to become members. And I think they've cleared that hurdle. But, for people like us who say, bah, if only we lived in the next town over, things might have worked out. It's easy for things to just fizzle out naturally, especially if you're living far apart.
That's right. So after that, did you perhaps decide to go to Denmark once again in order to see him, Yoko? Did you make another trip to Denmark to visit him after that, Yoko? Within those 6 months?
Yes, that's right. In the end, I really wanted to visit Denmark again. So, which came first, I wonder? Well, anyway, I went to Denmark.
And of course, you met your husband there again.
Yes, that's right. And then I enrolled in something like a language school, kind of like a dormitory school.
You did, Yoko? And then,
Well, I have to say, I really like this kind of thing. So I thought it would be good for me personally. At that time, wait, let me think for a moment. Were we just friends then? Or was it something more? I honestly don't really remember exactly, but still, even so, when you make a big move or a significant decision in a short period of time, your life really starts to change dramatically, doesn't it? Yes, that's right. It truly does. I've seen a lot of people like that. So I think for people who aren't afraid to make decisions and take action, international marriage can be really interesting, exciting, and even life changing. But for people who keep testing the waters over and over again and still never cross the bridge, they're not the type to take risks. So I don't think they need to force themselves to do it or to push themselves into something they're not comfortable with. Those people, in my opinion, prefer a peaceful, uneventful, and stable life rather than an exciting or unpredictable one, which is why they keep testing the bridge. So I think it really depends on your personality, your temperament, and what you want out of life. Whether your partner is from another country or not, if you live nearby, that's fine too, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think slowly nurturing a relationship, taking your time to get to know each other is wonderful, but when two people originally live far apart, that's just not possible, unfortunately. You can't do that, no matter how much you might want to, because the distance makes it impossible to build a relationship slowly in the same way. So, in the end, it all comes down to what kind of person you are, what you want, and what you're comfortable with, and there's no right or wrong answer. You have to make the decision in the moment. That's right. Whether or not it was the right decision, you only find out later. You check the answer afterwards. Well, sometimes it takes 23 years or so. I think you might not know until you die. That's true. It's not that I never wonder if it was the right thing to do. Yeah. So honestly, it's easier to just force yourself to think it was the right choice. That's true. Yeah. Right. And besides, I can't blame anyone else for it anymore. That's true. And it's not like there was a war or anything that forced me to flee the country, right? So in the end, it was something I decided for myself. You really just have to keep looking forward. If you keep thinking, I wish I hadn't done that back then, and always look back, I don't think you'll ever be able to feel happiness in a new place. So you just have to make up your mind. Fortunately, in nowadays, thanks to the internet, you can talk to your family in Japanese right away. And if you make a bit of an effort and buy a plane ticket, you can be in Japan the next day. That's really how it is now. Also, you don't necessarily have to decide whether you'll stay for many years or not. Maybe you'll choose to return to Japan someday. So for now, once you've made up your mind, you just do your best where you are. That's right, that's right. I see, I see. So after you met your husband, you decided to get married in about 6 months. When it comes to visas in America, it takes about a year and a half now, whether it's a marriage visa or a fiance visa, it takes a really long time. But in Denmark, when a Japanese person marries a Dane, is the process easy? It seems like it's pretty strict now. It's strict, huh? I thought so. There are a lot of requirements for the husband who is bringing you over. Even when I got married, I was told it was strict, but apparently it's even stricter now. It seems like there are various conditions imposed on the husband. Sorry, I don't have the latest information either. For the most up to date info, you really have to ask a lawyer or check websites like the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or immigration related sites because if I say something wrong, it might be different and things keep changing all the time. That's right, exactly. When the administration changes, the rules can get looser or stricter. That's true, that's true. I see, I see. So, is Denmark considered part of Eastern Europe? No, it's Scandinavia, or rather Northern Europe. Sorry, it's up north above Germany. I can't quite picture where it is, but it's a small country above Germany. How many countries are there in Scandinavia? For example, does it include Iceland? What about Finland? Finland is usually included. When you say Scandinavia, it typically refers to Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. But when you say Nordic countries, Finland is included as well. In Japan, when we say Hoku, Northern Europe, we usually include Finland too. So the definition varies a bit. And the language, is it Danish? So, Danish is a language spoken by about 6.9 million people, which is fewer than the population of Tokyo, right? Less than half, actually. So, have you already mastered Danish? Yes, that's right. Is it easy or is it difficult? Is it similar to English? Well, the grammar is similar to English with modifiers, predicates, objects, or sometimes compound words coming in. That's the same, but still, when I look at my own kids, for example, even if they're not studying that hard and just watching YouTube and such, by around fourth grade, they can speak it pretty normally. So I think it's similar. It's like a puzzle. If you quickly swap out the subject and predicate, you can somehow communicate. In that sense, it's different from Japanese, where you have to break everything apart and then put it back together. After all, it's a European language.